The Guild is Maximum Lawyers' community of legal entrepreneurs who are taking their businesses and lives to the next level. As a Guild member, you'll build relationships, be held accountable, and learn strategies specifically designed to get you unstuck and accelerate your plan for growth. Members are also granted exclusive access to masterminds hosted around the country. Our next event is coming up, and we're heading to Scottsdale, Arizona. There's something truly magical about the power of these in-person connections where real-time breakthroughs happen. Picture this. You're surrounded by like-minded law firm owners tackling your business and mindset challenges together. The energy is electric, the insights are transformative, and the results are game-changing. Investing in yourself is the best decision you'll ever make. The knowledge, strategies, and breakthroughs you'll gain are priceless assets that will supercharge your practice and propel you forward. Join the Guild and secure your ticket to Scottsdale at the best possible price by visiting maxlawevents.com.
At the same time, you learn about YouTube, you learn about LinkedIn, you learn about Twitter, and really can start to build a following and build a community. And so it's important that you understand the contours of each platform when you're trying to get in for the first time.
Run your law firm the right way. This is the Maximum Lawyer Podcast. Your hosts, Jim Hacking and Tyson Mutrux. Let's partner up and maximize your firm. Welcome to the show.
Welcome back to the Maximum Lawyer Podcast. I'm Jim Hacking.
And I'm Tyson Mutrux. Sounds like, Jimmy, you are whispering because you're at the hotel.
I'm in the lobby of the Westin in Kansas City, and I'm looking forward to today's call.
Yeah, so we are talking about the 5 ways to market through social media. And I think we've got 5 good I would say they're tips. I think we've got 5 good ways of marketing if you're not already doing it. I'd say that most people probably are, but the first one is, and you didn't like the first way I put it first one as a press release, but we're saying really announcements. You're big into press releases. You really get the word out, so that's why you get interviewed all the time. But I think that we overlook Facebook as making big announcements in our lives. And whenever we launched the new firm for Mutrux Finney, one of the things we did was a video, which was an announcement. It wasn't your typical press release where you're sending out, a typed up piece of paper and you talk about things in that typed up piece of paper. We actually talked about it in the video, and we got a bunch of shares and likes and a lot of interaction with people, comments, whenever we did that announcement. So there's a variety of ways you can do it. You don't just have to post something about a birthday. You can actually make big announcements about your career, your life, whatever it may be. And it's a good way of connecting with people.
Yeah, I think one of the great things about Facebook, besides the fact that everybody's on Facebook, is that it really gives you the opportunity to have a conversation with people that you might not necessarily know. I mean, just look at our own Maximum Lawyer podcast. We have our Facebook group, and we've become what I would call friends with a lot of people who we've never actually met face-to-face. And so Facebook is a great opportunity to interact with other people. I have my Facebook group of people that are interested in immigration, and it allows the communication to be 2 ways instead of 1 way. It's not just the old days of faxing and press release, like you said, but instead it gives you the chance to really have a dialogue with people and talk about common interests and topics that are concerning people.
Yeah, and it's actually something I mentioned on Mastermind Experience last week. Is it's really a billboard that you can interact with. So we're so used to seeing billboards up and down the interstate that you cannot interact with. You just you see an advertisement, a phone number, maybe an email address or a website. And there's no interaction. But with Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of those, you can actually interact with them, and that's the key to making sure that Facebook, especially, is successful. Is that you interact with people. Otherwise, it's just a billboard. So if you think that you can just put stuff out there and not interact with people, you will fail in social media marketing. It just will not work. Let's go on to number 2. Number 2 is something that I've tried out. I saw that Seth Price has done it. I think that this is really good. It's a good way of collecting leads, and that's through giveaways. We did the onesie campaign last year where we gave out the accidents happen onesies, which was very successful. And we collected a ton of leads, got a lot of good publicity. I actually got 2 text messages last week from 2 moms. Actually, one was a mom, one was a grandma of some babies, and they had their pictures of them in the onesies. So that's something that I'm going to post this week on our Facebook page, which I thought was really cool. is actually seeing these people use these things that we give away. So then we used it through Infusionsoft. So what they did was I just posted, hey, we've got these accidents happen onesies. I have a picture of my son Hudson in the onesie, and then just sent them to a landing page where they could sign up, enter their name, get their email address, phone number, home address, get a lot of good information so I can market to them down the road. And so that's a good way of actually getting leads and getting people onto your contact list is through giveaways.
Our friend Gary Berger has season tickets to the Cardinals, and he always has Facebook campaigns going, trying to get people interested in his Facebook page and interacting with people that way. And I also am reminded, like you said, of getting publicity through that our friend Mike Campbell got a lot of publicity by doing his giveaways of the rides on New Year's Eve. That got him a ton of great press, and you're just building goodwill with people. I had the pleasure of being on one of Pat Flynn's podcasts last month, and he sent me a T-shirt. And so, then I took a picture of myself in the T-shirt, put it out on social media to thank him, and that's just more publicity that way. So I think that using physical things in the real world and having, the social media world share those things is a great combination of marketing tactics.
Yeah, that's actually a good segue into the next one. It's, number 3 is expanding your network. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so one thing that's really been helpful for me is Twitter, and I really enjoy Twitter. And it's not like I have a zillion followers, but I have a fair number of followers. And one of the funny things that never ceases to amaze me is that, I put a lot of my content out on Twitter, and I use Meet Edgar and some other tools that allow me to regularly share content without me actually being the one to share it. So I've preloaded a bunch of tweets with links to my news articles or YouTube videos, and I would say at least 3 or 4 times a week, other immigration attorneys around the country retweet my package tweets. So there's other immigration attorneys who are technically competitors of mine who are sharing my content to their followers. And I do the same thing. And that's the thing about Twitter is you really need to participate in Twitter. And it's true with all social media, but with Twitter especially. If you just, like you said, do billboard tweets and just blast out how great you are every 3 hours, that's boring and nobody really cares about that. But if you're putting out content that's interesting, it's going to go a long way towards building your brand and getting people to interact with you.
Yeah, and another way that you can do it is through LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I've never really been a big fan of LinkedIn, but I've learned to sort of deal with it. But a good way of actually using LinkedIn is through expanding your network is going and finding, to give you an example, finding possible lead referrers. And so what I mean by that is I've been looking up recently, because we expanded our office to Columbia, chiropractors that are actually located in Columbia, and reaching out to them so I can have lunch with them. So that's one example of how you can actually search through LinkedIn, find people that can potentially refer you cases and expand your network. It's a really good resource. LinkedIn really is for expanding that network. The next one, Jimmy, is researching your prospects, which is also through LinkedIn. So you want to talk about that as well?
So for me, especially with the business side of immigration, as opposed to the personal, family-based immigration, that I've really done a lot of work on LinkedIn, researching people that I want to target for hiring us to handle their business immigration. So there's just so much free information on LinkedIn. I mean, basically people have their entire resumes posted, and you can see who knows who and connect through LinkedIn. You can always ask people that you're friends with to connect you to a particular person. It's a really easy way to find out who knows who and who's out there that can put you in contact with the people that you want to know. You can also use LinkedIn or Facebook to build rapport with people. So if you have a prospect coming in and it's somebody that you're interested in doing business with, you could do some quick and dirty social media research on LinkedIn or Facebook, figure out the kinds of things that they like. And if you see that someone, really likes, let's say, the Tennessee Titans, then you could, talk to them about a Titans game you went to, or some other way of connecting with people. It just gives you a free opportunity to get information about people so that you can build that rapport at the start of the relationship.
It's actually a very good piece of advice. It's something that I hadn't really thought about until you had mentioned it. So I think that's a really good one. And then our last one is actually something which is overlooked by most people, and that's the ability to test your marketing through social media. And the big one could be your lead magnets, especially through Facebook ads and Twitter ads. You can also do it through LinkedIn, but with LinkedIn, it's usually more business-to-business stuff, and so I think it may be a little bit more difficult if you're doing more business-to-consumer type of legal work. For example, personal injury is harder for me to market in LinkedIn unless I'm doing some sort of lead magnet for people that may refer me cases. But you can test out lead magnets that may work on your website if you test them through Facebook ads. They're super cheap. So are Twitter ads. There's a variety of ways of doing it. And then Instagram also has ads you can go through. So I think testing your marketing through social media is a very cheap and easy way of doing things.
Yeah, and of course Tim Ferriss, the author of The 4-Hour Workweek, really did this famously when he came up with the title to that book, The 4-Hour Workweek, and he did that through testing Google Ads to see what had the greatest click-through rate based on various book titles that he used. And so I think that that's something that you're right, that you could definitely test things. I think overall, one of the great things about social media is that it does allow you to spread the love of your lead magnet. So it's one thing to have a landing page with a lead magnet, but it's a whole other thing to be able to spread the word. And if we didn't have social media, it'd be very hard for you to share your lead magnets and to let people even know that they're out there. So I think that's a great thing. And actually, I think I have a bonus for people on this topic of social media, if I can take a minute.
Yeah, of course.
So one thing that Gary Vaynerchuk often talks about is that you really need to understand with social media the environment and the world of social media of each platform. So each platform has its own rhythm, its own vibe, its own cadence. And if you don't want to be that guy or that girl who, talks out of place or does things the wrong way. You don't want to be shouting in social media. And a lot of people are shouting in social media, doing that billboard approach that you were talking about earlier. So I think it's really important, if you're thinking about using social media, to read a book like Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk, where he really goes through each platform. Because there's platforms that I'm not on. I've been scratching my head about how to use Instagram, and if I can ever figure out how to actually make Snapchat work for me, I will do it. But those are some platforms that I have not been able to fully invest in. But, then at the same time, you learn about YouTube, you learn about LinkedIn, you learn about Twitter, and really can start to build a following and build a community. And so it's important that you understand the contours of each platform when you're trying to get in for the first time.
It's a great piece of advice. I love it. Do you want to roll into your hack of the week?
Yes, I will. So I had to go to Louisville, Kentucky last week for an interview, and right before I left, I heard a podcast on I Love Marketing. Now, I Love Marketing for me has really jumped the shark. It used to be my all-time favorite podcast, and I still get a lot of value out of it, and I enjoy it, but it's not the same as it was before. Dean Jackson's not on nearly as much as he used to be, and it's really turned into Joe Polish, really promoting his Genius Network. And with all that being said, he had on a guest 2 weeks ago, a guy from Gambia. He's from Gambia. His mother's from Japan. His father was a preacher, and now he's one of these guys who sort of does self-improvement. And I heard him on the podcast, and he really had an amazing story. His name's Kute Blackson, Kute, and then Blackson, Blackson. And he has a book out that's called You Are the One. And I downloaded that book before I went on the trip, and I listened to the whole thing in the car that day. And it was really a tremendous book. I got a lot out of it, a lot of actionable stuff. And I think that our listeners would be well served to listen to it. He starts off by saying, basically, you're on your own, and no one's coming to save you, and it's up to you. And don't be looking for the government to help you out or your parents to help you out, or you got to live the life that you're meant to lead. And I really think it's a great message for people that are of the mindset that we are, in this sort of growth mindset that we have.
I love it. I haven't heard that episode, but I'm going to go back and listen to it. I agree with you, but I love marketing. It's sort of fallen off, especially as Joe Polish starts to sell more and more on the podcast. But, Jimmy, I'm going to get started with my tip of the week by asking you a few questions. Good?
Go for it.
Do you use Facebook?
Yes, I do.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to list off these services, and you tell me if you use them, okay? WordPress.
Yes.
YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
PayPal.
Yes.
Fusionsoft.
No, I do.
QuickBooks.
Yes, I do.
All right, so I'm going to stop there. There's a ton of these, right? A ton of services. My tip of the week is Cyphe, C-Y-F-E. It's an all-in-one business dashboard. You can track your finances, social media, email, a variety of things all from one dashboard. to something that I've been researching for our firm, something where we can put everything in one place. But I think I may have actually found it. I'm going to test it out and see how well I like it over the next few weeks. You can get started for free. They've got a free trial period. The website is Cyfe.com, C-Y-F-E. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's something worth checking out. I'm sort of scanning through, I don't know, maybe 100 different types of services that they connect with: Vimeo, Flickr, Stripe, Bing ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, Twitter, Google+, Google Analytics, Salesforce Desk, iTunes, Instagram. I mean, there's a bunch of them that they sync with. So it's a great way to get all of your services on one dashboard, so you're not having to bounce from place to place. So that is my tip of the week. Anything else, Jimmy?
It sounds like a great tip, but what a dumb domain name.
Yeah, I agree. Terrible domain name. That's the first thing I thought. But
You said it and spelled it twice, and I still don't know what it is, so I'll have to look in the show notes for everybody else.
CYFE, Cyfe.com.
That was our 51st episode, which means that next week's episode will be our 1-year anniversary of starting this crazy podcast.
I know, it's going to be a pretty cool one, too, I think. I feel sorry for Francisco because he's got a bunch of editing he's got to do with it because there's so many recordings, but I think it's going to be a fun one. I don't know how long it's going to be yet. I'm a little worried it's going to be a long one just because of the number of people that have responded, but we'll see.
Let's give Francisco some more work. Everybody, you still have time to get in a recording. If you want to shoot a short audio clip on your iPhone and email it to Tyson or I, we will get it out on the next week's show. We're asking for your number one tip in running your law practice or marketing your firm.
All right, Jimmy. Anything else?
Safe travels, brother.
Thanks, man. You too.
Thanks for listening to the Maximum Lawyer Podcast. To stay in contact with your hosts and to access more content, go to MaximumLawyer.com. Have a great week and catch you next time.